usually you're like here da 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 da,
Yeah, yeah.
but it's like more like
Got to sort of slip
so
to fret there too.
yeah.
Hello again and welcome to I've Got a Beatles podcast with Dave and Chris. And today we're going to look at a gig in our classic Beatles gig series. And it's actually a TV show, but also it came on the Beatles' first Scandinavian tour, and it was in Sweden, in Stockholm, Sweden in 1963. So,
That's
uh,
right, Dave. Dave, I almost every episode we've recorded of this podcast has been from my home here in lovely Andersonville, Illinois, which is a historically Swedish,
yeah.
grown from Swedish heritage neighborhood. So you can, if you, for our video viewers, you can see I've got the Andersonville tower picture behind me, which has the Swedish flag on it.
That's right. And I'm one quarter Swedish, and growing up, my family, we would sometimes go down when we'd go to Chicago, we would go to Andersonville and shop at the Swedish market and
Yeah.
the store, which I don't know if they're even still there, but
No, it closed a
uh,
few,
uh,
terribly, disgustingly closed several years
yeah,
ago.
that's too bad.
Uh, so much
But
disappointment from the neighborhood, but still, that's
yeah,
my neighborhood.
historic at
That's
least.
right.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah, so the Beatles played on the show, which is called Drop In, and we'll get into the amusing aspects of the show itself. But it came off of the about a week playing in various cities in Sweden in 1963, and it's an interesting period because they've been playing a lot in England. It was right before the Royal Command performance, which was November 4th, also one of our classic Beatles gigs
Yeah.
discussions. But they went to Sweden and they played in Stockholm, Karlstad, and apologies if I'm not pronouncing some of these right, but I think it's Gothenburg, and then Borås, Eskilstuna, and then they finished back in Stockholm for Drop In. So it was a week-long Swedish tour, and we'll talk about some of the set lists and all of that. But pretty
Hmm.
cool because the period is interesting, 63. So there's still, when you watch this video, which I want to get your take, it's uh, ex very well recorded, first of all. It sounds
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Good video, and they look like they're having a good time.
Yeah. They I almost look eager to play.
Yeah, I know, I
Like,
know.
very kind of strange thinking about seeing them a couple years later, how clearly they don't want to be there, and
Yeah.
and the other very strange thing about it is that the audience is clearly into it. There's some screaming, but for the most part they behave themselves, so much so you can actually hear the guitar solos. Well, if they pot it up, you can
Yeah,
hear
that's the
the
problem, the
guitar
miking. Yeah.
solos, and you can hear the vocal harmonies, and so it's rare footage in that you can actually, in that era especially, in that you can actually hear them.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
And so this, for me, listening, you mentioned the guitar. Yes, so George seems to be kind of low in the mix, but
Yeah.
and so like you can't hear his solo very well. You have to really turn it up to hear his some of his guitar solos. But
Yeah, we'll get to
we'll
that
get there.
for
But
sure.
my revelation was really hearing John, hearing his
Mhm.
rhythm playing, which is mic'd very well, and it's
Yes,
pretty revealing, I'd say.
because of a screw up in the George playing and them not potting up the solo, you can actually finally, maybe for the first time ever, hear what John's playing
Yeah,
in that section. I believe it was on
I
I
saw
Saw
her
Her
standing
Standing There.
there.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so it was really nice to hear. And then of course Ringo you can hear pretty well, and Paul sounds great too. So
Yeah.
good miking except for George's guitar, but good visuals, and you get to see the audience, which like you said is quiet during the songs. They scream
Yeah.
in between, of course, but
Yeah.
they're pretty quiet during the songs, and you can really hear themselves. And I think they enjoyed the fact that they could actually hear themselves too.
Yeah. Another
Oh.
thing I don't think you're ever gonna see is the Beatles, somebody making the Beatles wait.
Yeah, right, right.
And so the video starts out with this presenter. Now, I'm gonna assume this was part of a longer program,
Yes.
and for obvious reasons, they just pick it up right before the Beatles go on. We did have that one video somewhere of the Royal Command performance where it was the whole thing with
Oh, yeah.
Marlene Dietrich and all the
Oh, those awful
all the
acts.
crazy acts, yeah. But this video, the only video I could find, I couldn't find the full 100% video, probably because they were like, none of this matters. Clip, clip.
Hmm.
Here's the Beatles. But it does start with this guy, the presenter, just talking. He's speaking in Swedish. The audience is reacting to it. I tried to do a thing where you can record the audio and then put it through a translator and stuff. Didn't work. I'd
I
catch a word or two. Did you do it?
I did. I used Google. I
Oh,
used Google Translate
oh,
and
very
put
good.
my phone up to the laptop, and it was able to make out most of what he was saying. It really was just talking about this is a group from Liverpool, England. They're famous. They had a hit with "Love Me Do," and then
Yeah.
he talks about each Beatle, and so it says what they play and what this is John Lennon, this is George Harrison, and he just introduces them. I think he was one of the um, co-hosts of the show. There were two,
Hmm.
it looked like, from what I read.
Oh yeah. And they
Yeah,
cut that's why when they cut to late in the show, they cut it's a him and somebody else
yeah,
sitting
yeah,
there and he's just sort of like
yeah.
sitting there stone faced for a little while.
Yes,
And
it's
then they
weird.
cut back to him and then he's like
Yeah,
sort of rocking his head to the tune. So very strange
yes.
guy.
Yeah, very strange. But the introduction, the introducing the guy who introduces, he says "She Loves You," which is the first song that you hear.
Yeah.
But the Beatles were only supposed to play two songs, and
Yeah.
then the guy that guy sort of goads them to play one more, and then they get one more out of them. So they only play
Yeah.
four songs, but they doubled what they were supposed to do. So that's nice.
That creates a very odd running order in that
Yeah.
Twist and Shout is the second of four songs. I don't think you
Yep.
would ever, ever see that.
No, no, it's always the
It's
closer.
always the closer because it could strip John's throat out
Yeah. Yeah.
and he
Yeah.
can't go on after that. But fortunately, that didn't happen.
No.
So,
And so we'll tell you the four songs that they did in a second, but I wanted to give you the nine songs that they were playing on all of the shows right before this one. So they
hmm.
extracted from it. So I want to get your take on this set list. So Roll Over Beethoven, Please
Oh,
Please Me.
is that starter? Roll
Yeah.
over by two?
Yeah. Well,
Wow.
that's what they did in at the Washington Coliseum too.
Oh,
So I
that's
guess
true. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Then Please Please Me.
Hmm.
And I saw her standing there. From Me to You, A Taste of Honey.
Oh,
Yeah. Boys, She Loves You, Twist and Shout, and Long Tall Sally.
okay. So long, tall. Wait, I just lied.
Yeah.
What a
It,
liar.
it was the last
Or
song on
I,
the album, I guess, on Please
yeah.
Please Me, but
Yeah.
in concert, maybe not.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So.
boys. Ah! The crowd goes crazy during that. That's for
Yep.
sure.
And then I think the strangest one is certainly Taste of Honey.
Yeah.
We know that was a favorite of their Liverpool Cavern and Hamburg sets, but it's still they're playing stuff from Please Please Me, which
Hmm.
they before they went on tour, they had just finished recording with the Beatles. So that's why you hear maybe Roll Over Beethoven or
Hmm.
uh, actually I guess that's the only one on that that they had played. So
Yeah.
huh,
I think too, once the screaming starts in full force, You're definitely not going to get any taste of honey at that
Oh,
point.
no way. No way. No
So,
way. So what were the four songs that they played? You've already talked about one of them. Oh, two of
yeah,
them actually.
let's just go through them as they happen.
Yeah.
So, She Loves You. Of course, you still get those, like I said, you still get that screams of delight more than anything. Big smiles on certain faces in the audience, but a much more behaved audience. Nobody's standing. They're
No.
all sitting. They're all like, ha
Kind of
ha.
bopping in their
Yeah.
seats and yeah.
So good performance, although there's definitely a funky note at the end for George. I'm sure if George had watched this footage back, he'd be like, ugh, this is not the one I'd want to go into my Hall of Fame reel.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, very energetic, very John and Paul sound great on the vocals.
Yeah.
Uh,
And then
yeah,
in between the John's starting to, Paul's trying to announce the next song
yeah,
and John's clowning around a bit. I
which
think
you can't
off cam
see. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think off camera he might be doing the certain things he used to do that haven't aged very well,
Yeah,
sort of imitating people with mental issues,
yeah, yeah.
stomping their hands or clapping their feet and stomping their hands. At the time, socially perfectly acceptable to make fun of people like that. Now it obviously is aged poorly.
Yeah,
But and then there's a very funny moment though where Paul just goes, shh.
yeah. He
He's
shushes.
clearly shushing John for like, shut up. I
Yeah.
just this is on live TV. Let's go. Let's go. And then they go into Twist and Shout.
Hmm.
Something's totally off in the middle of a section of Before the Oz.
Yes.
The guitars are, I don't know what if it's one of them's not harmonizing because it's not turned up, or if
Yeah.
it is turned up and they're playing the wrong thing, or what's going on.
I'm wondering what the situation was like on stage, if George just couldn't hear very well, or if they could hear and it just wasn't recorded
Yeah.
well, or I'm not sure. But yeah, it's a little grungy for that first time around. It's better the second time
Yeah,
around.
usually you're like here da 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 da,
Yeah, yeah.
but it's like more like
Got to sort of slip to
so
fret there too.
yeah.
But certainly John sounds good, and
Yeah.
they're energetic. They're going for it because
And we'll
this was
put
supposedly the last song.
yeah. And we'll
Yeah.
put links to the video so you
Yeah.
can the YouTube video or videos so you can
Yes.
watch it. And then in between it, that host pops out to introduce them real quick. Introduce them, and then he's like, one more number, please," like
Yes.
very politely.
Yeah.
And so they do. I saw her standing there.
And they were ready for it. It's just like he just says, one more number, please. And they just launch in one, two, three, four. And
Yeah.
it is off to the races, which this is where I thought John sounded particularly good, hearing
Yeah.
his rhythm guitar playing, especially like you said, during George's very faint solo.
John's mic, which was is appropriately hot on Twist and Shout, remains a little hotter than the Paul mic. So
Yeah.
when John comes in for his harmony vocals, they're a little loud at first, and then I feel like maybe he even, I don't know how it was set up too. Like you said,
Yeah.
maybe he heard that he was a little loud and kind of pulls back for the rest of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hard
uh,
hard to know.
but this is the part where if you ever wanted to hear this song and you like, I hate George's solo. This is the one for you because they just plain don't pot it up at all in the
No.
mics until the last little bit.
You can see him playing. You can
Yeah.
see it
Yeah,
happening,
he's
but
ripping it. You're
yeah.
like, ah, I want to hear it. But
Yeah.
that does create that, like we said, the rebound effect of that is that you can hear John really well,
Hmm.
very clearly. So
And
pretty
Paul
good.
too with that great
Yeah.
do 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 do
Yeah.
do do. Yeah, great bass line. So
And while they're playing though, all the other bands that played previously, start to fill in the back of the stage because they
Yes.
gotta get ready for
Oh,
for doing this thing that happens at the end. But the problem is, uh, uh, Paul sort of looks around, and then they're like, "Hey, we got time for one more. Let's do it." And they rip into Log Tall Sally. So all the other groups kind of like stand there like,
like I thought this was it. I
"Yeah,
thought
we
why
were
are we
told to
here?
come out on stage, and now we're standing here through the rest of
Yeah, very
the last
funny.
song." Is very strange. So
Well, Long Tall Sally, good rockin' closer. John takes one of the solos because he's the only one you can hear, and it's raw, very raw,
yeah,
very Hamburg cavern like,
yeah,
but a lot of energy, and Paul's going for it. I think in a way maybe because they could hear themselves that they felt like they were going to give a better show or like actually play better, try to play better because
yeah.
it wasn't just screaming.
So the four tracks, obviously, like you said, all of them kind of raw, all of them, but all of them extra energetic, and all of
Yeah.
them little vocal flourishes that you don't usually hear on
Hmm.
because when they're doing them, that it's probably the audiences have
Yeah.
overcome them with screaming by those
Covered
point.
it up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Do you think it's also that it's the last show of the week? So
yeah,
they're just
yeah.
kind of like, okay, we're going home
Yeah,
tomorrow. We're
yeah,
gonna
they're
give
tired
it
of
our
eating fish. They're
yeah.
they're like they want to get back to
Yeah.
their delicious English
Yeah.
food
That's right.
cuisine.
Tired of
So,
herring and yeah.
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 No offense. Hopefully, none of our Swedish
Yes.
nor English viewers are offended by our little joke there.
Yeah,
But
but then
yeah.
of course the best part's the ending when
Oh yeah.
the Beatles themselves are a little confused because they start this clapping thing where it's the kind of they're the bum 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 drop
Yeah.
in, and then you get the other people start playing and then Ringo starts playing and John's even having a good time with it. They're
Yeah.
all like having a good time clapping and saying the name of the show, and it
Yeah.
just fades out from there.
Yeah. It makes me really, really want to watch archive drop-in footage.
Yeah, I know. It's like a rocking show. I know.
Yep.
Just think this was only a few months before coming to America
Yeah.
and then doing Ed Sullivan. So this was October 30th, so basically November, and then they
Yeah.
came in February. So wow, that's quite
Yeah.
a change.
I think this one you're never gonna get like official releases of these
No.
four tracks. That's part of why it's great to like do this series is to like look at some of these different even we Royal Command performance versus this one, which happened what days apart.
Yeah, November
Uh,
4th, so just the next week.
Yeah, totally different.
Yeah.
Totally different feel, totally different weird stuff happening,
Yeah, yeah.
totally different. The guy in the audience, like we said, there's other shots of the audience and strange people, wearing some weird things and
Like hipster
yeah.
kids from
Yeah.
the period.
Yeah. All the cool kids showed up for drop in all the
Oh,
time.
absolutely.
It's the
Yeah.
only cool thing happening in that time. So
Yeah, they're loving it.
yeah.
But it's well worth a look. It's only the whole thing with the announcer will run you about 12 minutes, so it's a
Yeah.
very easy watch.
Much, much, much easier than the last episode,
Oh,
Sergeant Pepper Lonely Hearts Club Band movie.
well, I'd like to, yes, we heard from a bunch of you about the last episode of our Sergeant Pepper's thing. And so
Yeah.
I wanted to read a comment from Leanne, who said, I
Yeah.
joyously listened to you guys shred this film. Sadly, sadly, I remember this was in the movie theaters and I just had to go see it. I was pretty young and thought it was goofy. Now I see how embarrassing it must have been for the Bee Gees, all of whom I adore, and for Peter Frampton. I do not have many of my records from my youth, but I do have the record from this movie. Oh, lucky me. Every everything was ridiculous, dumb, and nonsensical. I I really appreciate how you guys never had anything negative to say about the Bee Gees. They have clearly indicated that it was beyond a shadow of a doubt the worst thing they ever did. Thanks for always being so entertaining and hilarious, and of course, deeply knowledgeable about our beloved Beatles. So, thank
Yeah.
you, Leanne, for that great comment. We definitely we think the Bee Gees are terrific. I mean, their vocals and
Yeah.
even when the arrangements were kind of schlocky in that movie, they sounded great all the time.
Yeah, the Bee Gees get a bad rap just because of the whole disco thing and
Yeah, yeah.
people getting tired and sick of disco, but I really got a newfound appreciation for the Bee Gees because of the documentary that came out. I believe it's a HBO
Hmm.
documentary. So seek that out if particularly if you like the Bee Gees at all. I really think it's like very fascinating. I wanted to read a couple more uh, from our YouTube channel, which, by the way, if you're not aware, we're on YouTube now. So you can see us if you like to see us. If you don't like to see us, don't bother. But we don't need Chris, you look terrible, like
Yeah, yeah,
comments like
yeah.
that. But we did get a couple comments about the episode from Cajun Queen 5125, who's been commenting on many of our videos, and I appreciate it. It says, well, I saw that movie way back when it came out, and the great irony is that your review here of the movie is way, way better than the movie itself was.
Yeah.
Great review. Really enjoyed this. And then Live the Music Now, who has his own channel,
Hmm.
so you could follow him, and he's got some videos. I watched a few of them. Very very nice. A nice overview of a rough movie. I can vaguely remember seeing it in theaters as a kid and being quite underwhelmed. I just wanted to see the Aerosmith scene. Chances of me watching again, zero in this life or the next. But again,
Yeah.
good job on your analysis. So, nice comment there from Live the Music at Live the Music Now.
Yeah. Thanks for your comments. We always
Mhm.
appreciate getting some feedback, positive or negative.
Yeah.
So,
And we got a negative one too, and we won't go into that, but
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
everybody's entitled to their opinions.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. There's really very little Beatle news in this week's news bag, is there?
oh,
I know there.
you're forgetting
Yeah.
Wings, the story of a band on the run. Paul McCartney, edited with an introduction by Tad Widmer, coming November 4th,
Mm,
2025. $45 list price, a little more palatable than
yeah.
the when the original lyrics came out. I believe it was like 60 or maybe even more. Right now on Amazon, the pre-order price is $40, which of course, if you just to remind you, if you purchase on Amazon, if you hit that pre-order, what'll happen is if the price drops before it comes out to 35 or something, then you'll get that price.
Yeah.
Probably won't happen though. It's probably going to be around 40. Here's the little blurb of Paul talking about it. I'm so very happy to be transported back to the time that was Wings and relive some of our madcap adventures through this book, starting from scratch after the Beatles felt crazy at times. There were some very difficult moments, and I often questioned my decision. But as we got better, I thought, okay, this is really good.
Mm,
We proved Wings could be a really good band to play to a huge audience in the same way Beatles had and have an impact in a different way. It was a huge buzz. So,
okay.
yeah, so it will be interesting to see or to hear what Paul has to say about the uh, Wings era. But two things. One is we have before.
Yeah, well, so
In
that was my
Wingspan.
yeah, yeah. I mean, my question to you, and then you can give your second thing. Uh, from what I was reading about this, or maybe I saw it somewhere else, it seems like it's mainly or it's going to be interviews from that have been collected through the years that have been kind of edited together. I'm not sure it's all totally new from scratch. That was
No.
the
He didn't sit down with Paul Muldoon
not
and
wasn't that kind of thing.
chewing
Yeah.
gum and
Yeah, he does. I noticed that he does chew gum when he's talking,
yeah.
or he's
So
sucking on a hard candy or something.
yeah.
So I'm not sure what this is going to be, but yeah, he's already done a lot of this before.
Yeah, and It says based on dozens of hours of interviews with Paul and numerous key players in the
Mm,
band's orbit. So
okay.
I'm sure you'll get some perspective from the late Denny Lane, from the late Linda McCartney, from
Yeah.
some of the surviving members of
Juber.
Wings, Lawrence Juber, and people of that
Sywell
nature.
and
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So, yeah, so that should be interesting. But and maybe they're give a little more full-throated participation than that, which was my number two. There's two great books out from Alan Kozinen and
Right.
um,
Luca
is that
Perossi.
yeah, Luca Pras. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying two from the Alan
Oh, two from
Kozinen
the Alec. Yeah, that's
that
right. That's
that
right.
that cover all the era.
Yes.
The second of which, the blue one, the Paul McCartney years 1974 to 1980.
Yeah.
Both of us are in the middle of reading that one. So that book, and it's a large book. So
Yeah.
am I really going to be eager to grab another Wings book and read it right after this Wings book? The answer is probably yes.
Well,
The answer is like, I'm definitely going to get this book and I'm definitely going to read it. But
well,
but
okay,
it is it's and after that maybe there should be no Wings book ever again.
no. Well, this
So
is my conspiracy mind brain th going here, but could it be that Paul is, if these really are new interviews, that
yeah.
he's annoyed that other people have now exhaustively painted this a portrait of this period, which is not
Hmm.
always favorable to Paul either.
Yeah.
And
No.
so he's going to try to, 50 years afterwards, do one of this like, oh yeah, actually it was really great. It was amazing. And
Yeah.
Jimmy was not drunk all the time. And, yeah,
Well, my guess is maybe he feels that way, but has he read the book? I feel
yeah,
if he's
yeah,
read these books, he would be like, there's no way that this is painting Paul McCartney in horribly negative terms, other than maybe stating the straight fact of how little some of the Wings players got paid and
yeah, yeah,
how there was no real contract and
yeah,
that kind of thing. Some of the financial kind of burden on the band members
right.
seemed a bit unfair. So maybe he wants to set some of that straight, but I don't think he's read the
No,
Alan
I doubt it.
Koznin books. Or
No, I doubt it.
what
I'm
I
gonna
would
think of some.
want is maybe, hey, here's a good time to do an official, like, I don't know, Blu-ray 4K release, either direct to YouTube or Disney Plus or something of Wingspan.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
that's true.
and also maybe accompanying that, clean up Wingspan and put it back out on record or something like
Hmm.
that.
Yeah, the album.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it seems like an all connected package, but probably not going to happen. They're probably done
No.
with Wingspan, never see that again, other than the um, videos that are out there. I don't know, was that ever on DVD even?
I think it
Wingspan?
was. I think it did get a
So,
physical
okay.
release at some
Well,
point.
yeah.
But I thought you were
So,
going to say you wanted the nice cleaned up Bruce McMouse show.
oh,
Uh,
well, yeah, you can that was
you could
part of
get
one of
that.
the packages. I
That's
think
right.
one of the I forget which one, but the
Yeah, it was at a Wildlife or Red Rose Speedway, I think.
yeah.
It was on that. Yeah.
So, Bruce McMouse.
So we'll see. We'll see. It just seems
Yeah.
it's not what people, again, the very tired beating the drum about London town and back to the egg. It's not that. Again,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
something else. It could
Yeah,
be
the other
interesting.
thing is the book releases don't seem to prevent any
No.
other thing coming out, and I would guess there's a Beatles release in November
Yeah.
probably coming out.
Hit the market.
It hit that Christmas market, and I would guess there's a Paul release of some sort. Could be, because we remember a few weeks ago, if you didn't hear the news segment a few weeks ago, right up on the
Half speed master, right? Yeah.
Venus and Mars half speed master said the first Wings release. Oh, maybe they were meaning this.
Yeah, you never
The
know.
first Wings related release. There's a book coming out. There is no. That could
Yeah.
be that.
Could be that. Could be
Uh,
that. Who knows?
We're never
Yeah.
gonna get our egg.
No, no.
Plus, egg, as we know here in America at least, egg prices have gone way up.
Oh, that's true. It's kind of a
So,
bad time for
so
that.
going back to the egg, it might be like double the price
Yeah,
now, so
especially
triple.
with tariffs and all
Yeah,
coming in.
tariffs and yeah.
Yeah.
So
But anyway, we'll keep you posted if anything else breaks, but
yeah,
that's where we are right now. And
yeah,
yeah, go check out the Sweden drop-in video and
yeah.
let us know what you think, and we'll be happy to read your comment. Yes, drop in.
Jump in.
Yeah.
We need like a clapping. I've got a Beatles podcast with
Podcast. Yeah.
Chris. That's too long.
I know. Yeah, but it's fun to go back and watch some of those. So,
Yeah,
hope you enjoyed our latest classic gig, and we will be back at you soon with a new episode.